All right, back here at home, Virginians are heading to the polls on Tuesday for the Commonwealth's primaries. There are 12 congressional seats on the ballot, 1 U.S. Senate seat, and 11 House seats. Democratic Senator Tim Kaine running unopposed for the Democratic nomination. He faces 5 Republican candidates. 2 House seats are also open. Those of note, the 7th District, where 7 Democrats and 6 Republicans are competing for Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger's soon-to-be open seat. And in District 10, it's another crowded field there with 12 Democrats and 4 Republicans running for Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton's open seat as well. We're going to hear from both sides and both parties this morning. We're going to begin with the former governor of Virginia, Jim Gilmore. He was in the governor's seat from 1998 to 2002. Joins us live from Richmond this morning. Governor, always good to see you. I want to start off with your take on where the Commonwealth is right now, oriented politically. We hear a lot of people saying, oh, Virginia's a blue state or Virginia's a purple state. You're a Republican. You've seen, the evolution of the changes here. What do you think Virginia is?
Well, I have seen that evolution. Of course, I was able to carry Virginia, including Northern Virginia. Governor Youngkin was able to do the same thing. We did it on the basis of issues. I on the car tax and he on education, parents' rights. So issues can matter, particularly in Northern Virginia. But the lean has been much more Democratic, largely because of the Washington, D.C. suburbs that you're addressing right now. However, issues do matter. And things do change. And what we're seeing right now, I think, is a reaction against the policies of President Biden in Virginia. And now, as a result, the polls are very, very close in Virginia. Virginia may very well go for Donald Trump in the next election. So it's a very close race and election. And the big picture, of course, is if it's close in Virginia, what's going on in the rest of the country where President Trump is even stronger?
Well, you don't have to look back too far in both the 7th and 10th district to see that it had been occupied, by a Republican at one point. Frank Wolf had represented the 10th for quite a long time, and then, the former House Republican Majority Leader Eric Cantor represented that 7th. There's been changes in the district as it's been redrawn, but are you expecting just a funnel of money into the Commonwealth once we get these nominees out of these primaries?
Yes, I am. I fully expect there to be a funnel into to Virginia because I think that the districts are interesting and they're challenging. The Senate race on the Republican side is heavily contested, even though Senator Kaine is, of course, very well known and very well ensconced. But the Republicans are very game. They've got candidates like Hung Cao and Scott Parkinson and Jonathan Emud and Eddie Garcia. The fact that so many people are running tells you that they think that there's a trend Republican right now in this year in Virginia. The House races are even more interesting, of course. The 7th District has some prominent people running, Derek Anderson, but then also Eugene Veneman, who's made a national name for himself in the Democratic side. But the most interesting race of all is the 5th District, where your viewers probably are not as aware of where it is. It's more in South Side, from Charlottesville down to the southern border. That is a contested Republican primary that has been very violent, has been very well strong, very well contested, lots of back and forth. The incumbent there, Bob Good, is being strongly contested. He is a member of the leader of the Freedom Caucus. I personally believe that his Ukraine position is unacceptable, but he is at the same time a leader of this Freedom Caucus in the United States Congress. He's being, for that reason, opposed by John McGuire, who I know very well. But who knows how that's going to turn out right now?
Hey, Governor?
Some informal polling is showing McGuire, but who knows?
Governor, we got about a minute left here. There were a couple of polls of note this past week. Fox News came out with a presidential poll looking into Virginia. They found Biden and Trump are both tied at 48%. Not to be outdone, earlier last month, Roanoke College found the state tied at 42% apiece. Do you believe this in the presidential race? Is Virginia up for grabs and in play?
I think Virginia is up for grabs, and I think it is in play, and it's because of the issues. There's been a trend nationally against President Biden, in my view, and it's because of inflation primarily. Look, let's be very clear about this. No matter what anybody says, when President Biden went into office, he spent tons of money on major New Deal type programs. It was inevitable it was going to create inflation, and it did. And the second issue has been very hot, has been the border. It has been unaddressed by the Biden administration in any serious way. And I think these are big issues,
right,
over and above the foreign policy issues.
All right, Governor Jim Gilmore, always a pleasure to talk to you as well. We thank you for joining us, sharing some of your insight and analysis with us live this morning.
Thank you, Tom.
Good to talk to you, Governor. Thank you. As we